Manny Diaz, certainly when he was hired, there were a bit of mixed reviews. A lot of people excited about, obviously, what he did with the defense, where some of his roots are in Miami.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, the lack of experience as a head coach. But we see Ryan Day, Lincoln Riley, others succeed without experience. So what was your initial response to the hire, and how do you think it's played out thus far?
I always felt like the University of Miami as a program was not a first-year head coach kind of a program, to go out and hire. So we saw the success with Mark Richt. He had success at Georgia. You take him at Miami, you hire him. Look, he gets you #2 in the nation, somewhere Miami has never even been close to. And that's what happens when you hire a successful head coach. Manny Diaz is hire. I understood what the situation at hand was because you just got an unexpected retire from Mark Richt. So you basically were about to lose the program. There wasn't really any hot coaching candidates out there. Mario Cristobal was a stretch. He had to take a pay cut if he was interested. There wasn't really any glamorous coaching candidates that you could have gone out for. I just wish we took more time. It was literally less than 24 hours. We hired Coach Manny Diaz. Blake James stated that we were going to do a national coaching search. We did not do a national coaching search. Manny Diaz said, hey, I am leaving to Temple on this exact day. You have this amount of time. Make your decision. Blake James made his decision, and Manny Diaz is now the head coach at the University of Miami. It is what it is. He's our current head coach. Is he my favorite choice? No. But right now, he's the leader of this football program, and I'm going to support Manny Diaz.
So that being said, if you go to the bottom line for 2019, it's not impressive. It didn't even come close to expectations when you consider there were two teams on the schedule that had Miami-type talent, and that was Florida State and certainly Florida. They split those two games, and then they lost a host of other games to the likes of Duke and FIU and Georgia Tech, the worst team in the ACC. So did you see anything out of Manny Diaz in regards to how he handled the game-by-game preparation for the team and the in-game adjustments and coaching from the sidelines that made you feel better about the hire or worse about the hire?
No, his first year was a learning lesson. I mean, it showed. He was a first-year head coach. He made a lot of first-year mistakes. I'm sure even his social media antics, he completely regrets. Taking the players he took from the transfer portal, he swung and missed on a bunch. Tommy Kennedy only played 1 snap against Louisville. Awesome Martin did he even stay a semester down in Coral Gables? We got him out of Auburn. He didn't even dress out. I mean, we swung and missed on a lot of guys, even to a certain extent in the, Bubba Bolden regarding his NCAA eligibility. He only was allowed to play a short amount of games, and he got injured after 4 games. He played great those 4 games, but he really didn't make a season-long impact. So, regarding the transfer portal, even Manny Diaz swung and missed on that with this class. Now, one thing I love about Manny Diaz, and one thing when I interview his former players, other people around the program, they all tell me Manny Diaz is a student of the game. Okay, he's not stubborn like we've seen with other coaches in college football. He modernized. He said, Dan Enos, it's not going to cut it. He brings in Rhett Lashley. Okay, he is trying to learn as the years go by. Remember, this man tasted the bottom. He was at Texas for 1 year, gets let go, and I think he ends up at Middle Tennessee State or Louisiana Tech, has to work his way back up to the Power 5 level. He understands what the bottom feels like, and that's what I appreciate about Manny Diaz, man. He's always going to continue to grow. We had a 13th best recruiting class, not including Isaiah Walker, and we went 6-7 and got our asses kicked by Louisiana Tech and FIU. We are now number 11 in the nation in recruiting, and we're getting some of the best recruits in South Florida. And we're still fighting for some of the top recruits in the nation. We just have to win games at Miami, and we have a very good offensive staff as well. So
yeah,
hey,
there's a huge recruiting advantage. It's one of the few places in the nation where you can just lock in right where you are. Now, obviously, the SEC's coming in, Clemson's coming in, Ohio State's coming in, and bombarding South Florida as well. But at the same time, again, it's one of the very few places USC might be another place where they can just pretty much lock in the surrounding counties, and you can pick up a bunch of 4 and 5 stars and pretty much have your recruiting class if you do it the right way. So you mentioned having the highest recruited class for a team with a losing record from last season. But is the recruiting meeting your standards? What are the highs and the lows of the recruiting process under Manny Diaz?
Mark, Miami, in the sense of its program, they never had a real trouble getting in recruits. Now, getting the top priority recruits, that's a different story. But take Randy Shannon. He had the #1 recruiting class under his tenure. He relied heavily on Miami Northwestern. Booker T. Washington was really reeling in a lot of great players from the South Florida area. We even had Patrick Peterson committed to the class, and he decommitted late to LSU. So we really were getting the cream of the crop in South Florida. Al Golden as well had top 10 classes. We always started off hot, #1 in the nation, #3 in the nation, slowly trickled down with the commitments. Mark Richt, top 10 class as well, was #1 in the nation for quite a while. 3 weeks until National Signing Day, everything fell apart. The key, I think, at Miami is building your head coach with a strong core of assistant coaches, which is what they had with Howard Schnellenberger, Jimmy Johnson, Butch Davis, Larry Coker to a certain extent. We always had strong assistant coaches around our staff. And that is something that's been missing at Miami. When was the last time, besides Craig Kuligowski, did you see an assistant coach, a position coach, even an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator go on to another school to become a head coach or an OC or a DC? We don't see that. Craig Kuligowski was really the only coach to go from Miami to Alabama, or Mario Cristobal. And those are some of the best coaches in the game of college football right now, to the respect of their position coach.